All right, let's get started. Today, we are going to take a journey right inside our own minds to uncover some of the hidden glitches that lead us astray. We're talking about your brain's blind spots, and our guide for this trip is going to be one of the world's all-time master thinkers, the one and only Charlie Munger.
So, let's just jump right in with a huge question, one I'm pretty sure we've all asked ourselves at some point. Why is it that incredibly smart people, CEOs, leaders, maybe even us, sometimes make just jaw-droppingly awful decisions? It doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, here's the thing. The answer, surprisingly, has almost nothing to do with how smart someone is or their IQ. The real culprit, the key to unlocking these massive blunders, is hidden in the weird and often flawed wiring of our own psychology.
So what we're really going to explore are our brain's blind spots. You can think of them as these predictable, totally universal errors in our thinking. They're kind of like glitches in our mental software that can fool every single one of us, no matter how smart we are.
And the person who's going to help us map these glitches is the legendary investor and thinker Charlie Munger. See, he spent decades not just being brilliant at business, but studying why people fail. He basically created a field guide to all the common ways our minds play tricks on us.
Now, Munger's core idea was something he called mental models. Just think of these as different tools in a toolbox for thinking. He said if you only have one tool, like a hammer, you start to see every single problem as a nail. So his big idea was that we need to build a whole latticework of these models, from psychology, physics, economics, you name it, if we want to see the world clearly.
Okay, so let's dig into the first, and you could argue the most powerful mental glitch of them all. This is the one Munger said you always have to start with, the unbelievably powerful pull of incentives.
Munger called this the reward and punishment super response tendency. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea behind it is dangerously simple. People are just profoundly driven by incentives. And it's not just about being greedy. It's that rewards and punishments are so powerful they can literally distort our judgment, our morals, and what we even allow ourselves to see as the truth.
Munger had this famous line that just says it all. Show me the incentive, and I will show you the outcome. That's it. It's like a law of physics for human behavior. If you want to predict what people are going to do, don't listen to what they say, just look at the incentives.
Here's a classic everyday example for you. Imagine a company pays its sales team based purely on the number of sales they make, with zero thought for customer satisfaction. So what happens? Well, you don't just get more sales, you get a team that is perfectly incentivized to ram people into terrible deals, creating a tidal wave of angry customers and destroying the company's reputation. The incentive created a totally disastrous outcome. All right, let's move on to the next big glitch, and this one is all about our social nature. It's that powerful, almost magnetic pull we all feel to just follow the herd. It's about why we feel so safe doing what everyone else is doing, even when it's a terrible idea.
This is called the social proof tendency, and it's basically our brain's default shortcut. When we're feeling uncertain or stressed, we outsource our thinking. We look around, see what the crowd is up to, and we just assume, hey, that must be the right thing to do. It's an automatic reflex that probably kept our ancestors safe, but today it can lead us right off a cliff.
I mean, we've all done this, right? You're in a new city, looking for a place to eat. One restaurant is completely empty, and the one right next door has a huge line. Which one do you pick? Yeah, the one with the line, every time. We're using the crowd as proof of quality. And that might be okay for picking a restaurant, but that exact same instinct is what drives things like stock market bubbles and dangerous groupthink.
Okay, our third glitch is a really subtle one, but it is an incredibly powerful trap. It's our deep psychological need to stay consistent with what we've said or done in the past, even when all the evidence is screaming at us to change our minds.
Munger called this the commitment and consistency tendency. The moment we publicly commit to an idea, even a tiny one, our brain just goes into overdrive to defend that position. This isn't about logic, it's about ego. Our mind wants to avoid the discomfort of being wrong, so it will literally start filtering out any information that contradicts our initial stance. It's crazy. Just think about how this plays out at work all the time. It starts with a small step. You say in a meeting, you know what, I think this new project is a great idea. But then, a week later, new data comes in showing the project is a total disaster waiting to happen. What do? Instead of changing your mind, your brain digs its heels in. You start defending the bad idea even more fiercely because the psychological pain of admitting you were wrong feels worse than leading the whole team to failure.
So, we've talked about these glitches, incentives, social proof, the consistency trap.
The obvious question is, what on earth do we do about it? How do we fight back? Well, this brings us to Munger's solution, his antidote for debugging your own mind.
And here's the absolute key to all of this. The way to think better isn't about getting smarter or cramming more facts in your head. The real solution is simply to become more aware of these tendencies. Just knowing that they exist is the first giant leap toward not being a victim to them.
And Munger gave us a really practical toolkit. First, learn the biases. Just knowing about them, like we're doing right now, is like a vaccine for bad judgment. Second, for any really big decision, use a checklist. Literally ask yourself, is my thinking being warped by an incentive here? Am I just following the crowd? And third, his most famous tool of all, invert. Always invert. This quote perfectly explains what inversion is all about. Instead of just thinking forward and asking, how can I succeed, you flip the entire problem on its head. You ask, what would absolutely guarantee that I fail? And then you just make sure you avoid those things. It's a surprisingly powerful way to get clarity and sidestep huge mistakes.
And really, that's the big payoff here. This isn't just about making smarter business deals. By understanding these blind spots, by getting to know the common ways our minds trick us, we can learn to see the world, and maybe more importantly, ourselves, with a whole lot more clarity.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. Now that you've got the map, which of these mental glitches, the pull of an incentive, the comfort of the crowd, or the trap of consistency, which one are you going to catch yourself falling for first?